Oh my God. Help me! Help me!
Jesus!
Maddox! Maddox, open the door! Maddox, open the door!
Please! No, please don't!
Your life in exchange for a promise.
You got it!
If I let you go, you must swear you'll never say you saw me, never say you wanted me to speak, never tell anyone how I look, never repeat what I've said. A promise forever.
You gotta be kidding. I promise.
And that's a promise it's going to be hard to live up to. So, hey, this is another review, or as I like to call it, a taste of a movie from 1990 called Tales from the Darkside. And I watched this movie a long time back, and I was really impressed with it, and today I got another chance to take a look at it. And it is a great movie, you know, for its time and practical effects. Again, I'm big on the practical effects, and good performances and good writing. This one's got it. So if you like, you know, Stephen King and George Romero's work, then you might like this one. So essentially, this is a project that George Romero was heavily involved with. Of course, we know him from a lot of his zombie stuff, but he was also involved with Creepshow, which Stephen King was involved with as well. So they kind of teamed up and they did Creepshow and an anthology series, movie rather, an anthology movie, and it borrowed heavily from, you know, the EC Comics, how they would portray stories, usually typically with a twist, quite dark. And he also followed that up along with Stephen King, and they worked together on Creepshow 2. And so he was kind of in this rhythm of doing anthology movies. Tom Savini was involved with those two shows. So, you know, the special effects are going to be pretty good. He certainly was the forerunner in the special effects horror kind of makeup of the time period. So, in that time, in around 93 to 88, I guess, George Romero, with the success of Creepshow, wanted to bring it to TV, and so he created a series called Tales from the Darkside. And during the 80s, this was quite a creepy show. And it had a lot of great performances, and it had some comedy, it had some actual serious horror, and some people remember it quite well. And if you grew up in that time period and used to watch television at night, and you know, maybe you're a little younger, a little more impressionable, you might have been quite taken aback by some of the stories, or you know, it might have kept you up at night. Some of the creatures, some of the stories, enough to scare you. So out of that came the movie. So after having success for like 4 seasons on TV, George Romero decided to make a movie out of this, and he decided to go with the anthology storytelling structure that was so successful with Creepshow in 82 and Creepshow 2 in 87. So he's following that up with Tales from the Darkside for 1990. And it's been mentioned that Tom Savini liked this movie, although he wasn't doing the effects on it. But he liked it so much, he said that that's really what should have been called Creepshow 3, because it follows sort of the very similar storylines. So from this cover, which is a bit better than the first cover I showed you when I first started this video, we see sort of the three main storylines involving a cat, a mummy, and a gargoyle. So, of course, this movie did really well in the theaters. I think it was pretty good success. I think they spent about $6 million making it and made 16 or 17 million in the box office, so that's a success. But more importantly, it of course got picked up in syndication on cable TV, I should say, and of course the DVD market, and you know, that would have been a pretty good, would have made some pretty good money that way. And of course, even the VHS era was still around at that time, and so it would have been a great rental show as well. So this back DVD cover, I think, captures sort of the structure of the show quite well. So we'll just zoom in on these four little squares here. So what the way it's told is there's a framing story, which involves Blondie, if you know the singer Blondie, you know, The Tide is High and Moving On and all that from the 70s. She's actually in the framing story. And then there is Lot 249, involving a mummy. There's a cat from hell, and a lover's vow with gargoyles. So I'm hoping I'm not giving away too much for you. I'm not going to tell you anything else about those aspects, but these four stories sort of make up the whole aspect of the movie. And you know, the framing story kind of is sprinkled between the stories and sort of at the end, and it has a conclusion. So it is a story, I guess you could say it's a 4-story anthology, but it's so framing, there's not much to that story really. But you know, it works. It's a good vehicle by which the story can be told. So it works well and smooth. So the first story involves these people and a mummy, and it is pretty well done. Christian Slater's in it. He does a pretty good job in his role. Some other recognizable actors in it as well. The next story, though, is about a cat. Now, how can you make a cat evil? How bad can a cat be? You know, can a cat really do you in? I mean, he's got little claws and little teeth. What is it going to do? Bite your ankle? Come on. How scary can a cat be? Watch it. They do a pretty good job making this cat pretty evil. It's pretty rough. Wow. So that was a good one. And of course, gargoyles. Who doesn't like gargoyles, right? Like, come on, they're awesome. So, that's it. That's going to be my 10-minute little ramble about Tales from the Darkside, the movie. I actually put this up on archive.org for those interested in watching it. I believe it's also on YouTube. Somebody's got it up on YouTube if you just look around on there. I have a link in my community page to the link I have on archive.org for those interested in watching it. I recommend it. It's good anthology. I also recommend if you're into 80s TV series and, you know, of the kind of Twilight Zone variety, I would say that Tales from the Darkside, the TV series from 83 to 88, I believe it was, ran, is worth seeing if you like that style of television. It's 24 episodic television, so it doesn't give them much time to work on things. So there's and it's not that high budget. So these days we've been pretty spoiled with the high budget of like 10 episodes, and they're spending like what would pretty much be equivalent to some movies on each episode. So it's a little different from today's TV, but if you don't mind, if you look past that, the stories a lot of times in themselves, and the acting and the just the dialogue and stuff like that, it's campy, it's fun. Some of it's humorous, some of it's serious, but it's worth it, in my opinion, to watch these old shows. I like them. So anyway, back to the movie though. The movie is definitely worth seeing. And I would agree with Tom Savini in that saying it's you could call it really like Tales from the Crypt 3, because it has a very same feel, because of course coming from George Romero and that team of creative people. So that's gonna be my review. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will talk to you in the next one.